everybody. It is Alex from Heavy New York. We are back at the Gramercy Theater, and this time we are here with the entirety of Bastardane. It is great to be able to talk with you. Thanks for being here today.
Woo!
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, anytime.
We're here.
It's so awesome to have you all here. The new album, Is This Rage, is absolutely awesome, and really just from start to finish, an epic track from the minute and a half Ad Infinitum track to Gaslight to Imposter, all just a really fun experience. First question I have is, I usually refrain to asking what does the record name mean, but Is This Rage? Is this a question you're asking your listeners, or is this a question you're asking yourself as the artist?
Definitely a little self-reflection more than asking people. Yeah. Yeah, we didn't have a concept. That's just kind of what we came up with after looking over all the lyrics and thinking, well, what the hell are we going to call it? And it seemed like a general theme to the album after everything was written, so yeah.
Yeah, the first album we wrote for ourselves. We didn't write it for a specific audience.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a question for ourselves.
Yeah. Was there at all sort of like a preconceived vision in terms of what you wanted this album to sound, or was it like a very improvisational songwriting process?
It was pretty improv,
It was
in my
very
opinion.
improvisational. Like, we literally sat down and decided we were going to write an album and just pretty much did it all in a couple weeks, kind of forming all of our ideas together and just riffs that everyone had, and it turned into something that we found was cohesive enough to call an album.
Yeah.
And then, we kind of found the theme afterwards.
I felt like every instrument on this album really stood out. There's some bands that are more guitar driven, some bands that are more rhythmic driven or vocal driven, but every form of instrumentation I feel like counts on this album. So I kind of have a question catered to each of you specifically. First, with regards to lyrics, has there ever been a time where maybe a lyrical idea or a lyrical concept guided with how the music would sound, or was music always needed before lyrics came into play?
Usually the music comes first, but sometimes if I get an idea while we're writing the song, then we'll change part of it to cater to the vocals a little better.
Okay.
Yeah.
In terms of the guitar sound, because, like every guitar sound on here, because when you listen to a track such as Gaslight or Imposter or Above All, I mean, it's like a smorgasbord of different sounds. So in terms of how you get your guitar tone, is it like happen by accident in a way?
It wasn't something that I was really crafting as much as it was working with what I had available to me and tuning that to something that I liked. That whole album I was playing a Strat that I threw a humbucker in the bridge to get a little higher output and a little chuggier sound, and then pretty much the whole guitar sound was crafted out of the resources that were available rather than sought after a specific sound.
So you had to MacGyver the guitar a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit for sure.
In terms of the drums, because I feel like, rhythmically too, Bastardane is really an experience to be had, the way that it just moves constantly and, really rhythmically hits you in the gut. A lot of people assume because drums are very rhythmic driven and not very melodic driven that it tends to lack emotion, but I think that that's total bull. I think it's proven. So what kind of emotions are you channeling into your kit in a way?
Let's see. First of all, we scrapped the click track. I feel like that is the main thing that takes away a lot of the emotion. At least for my style of drumming, I'll either speed up or slow down, or we'll just do a total tempo change depending on where we want the song to go, where we want it to take you while you're listening to it. I think that was the first step to really getting more emotional behind the kit and putting more feeling in it. Sounds more human. And then once we decided, or I guess we never decided it, but there was no click track. There was really no boundary to where the song could go. Like, there's no computer element to it telling you what you have to do next. I feel like that was a big reasoning and a big drive for the emotion that...
Yeah. And moving on to the bass, because, I know, like, in the world of rock and roll, we've all heard our fair share of bass player jokes here and there, but being that it has both an emphasis on rhythm and melody, have you always needed, do you prefer to write according to the rhythm section, or do you prefer to write, in accompany to the guitar tones, in a way?
I actually wrote all the click track parts, and they took them all out. Yeah, we got rid of that stuff. Yeah, but I play it live. There you go.
Yeah, so before we answer that question, so Sterling is from another band called Klept. It's like our favorite hometown band in Savannah. We actually just started having him play with us on this tour. So at the time, I actually wrote all the bass parts, or
Yeah.
we kind of wrote together here and there, but I put it on the album back then.
Okay. Yeah. So now.
I just recently joined, yeah. So he's written everything bass wise so far, yeah.
All right. Well, joining up with the band though, are you kind of like analyzing how the song is, being like, this is how I have to play, or are you kind of given a little bit of range to bring your own mix into Bastardane a little bit for the live show?
I really mostly just play what he wrote, and like these guys are really good with feeling things out. Just, I don't know, tempo wise, and just feel like Castor was saying, he doesn't like playing the click tracks or anything, but I don't know, we all feel each other pretty well while we're playing, so it wasn't really too hard for me to pick up. It felt pretty natural.
When it comes to playing live, because this is going to be my second Bastardane show in less than 2 weeks, I just saw you guys at Mercury Lounge. Kick-ass time.
Thank you.
But
Thank you.
this is going to be, because Gramercy Theater, it's a bigger venue, there's a lot more atmosphere, and Mercury Lounge is a very intimate setting. I know with the Mercury Lounge show, you were really able to make it real punk rock. And
Yeah, for sure.
so do you think that with this being a bigger venue, it's going to be a bit of a different live experience and a bit of a different vibe?
Yeah.
I think it'll be a little different. Yeah, louder, better sound, more lights, a bit more dramatic. I don't think it really takes away any of the rawness that would be at a venue like Mercury Lounge. I think it's just truly just bigger. So
It's going to be a different experience for the people watching just because of the setting, really. But yeah, I don't think it'll take away any of the rawness either.
Yeah. Are we going to have just as many people on the stage tonight as off the stage?
That's the goal.
We'll see.
Yeah, that's what we're going for.
Yeah.
And I also kind of like refrain from asking this question, but because instrumentally I feel like everything stands out, I kind of wanted to go along and what are your main sources of inspiration behind your form of instrument in a way? Who wants to go first?
I guess I'll start it off. In terms of learning the guitar, Jimi Hendrix was a huge influence, but nowadays, Meshuggah, surprisingly enough, is like my biggest thing that I don't try to emulate that, but that's like what tells me that I can push what I'm doing. Also, guitarists like Tosin Abasi, I'm a huge fan of, and again, like I don't really try to sound like them, but they just kind of continually show me that I can do more than what I'm doing currently.
Yeah. As for you?
As for my drumming, it used to be a lot of Joey Jordison.
Oh,
Rest in peace. Yes, Neil Peart, rest in peace. Those are my main inspirations for when I first was starting drums. I still love their drumming, amazing. But now it's a lot of, Thomas Pridgeon. He played with Mars Volta, now he's with Fever 333. John Theodore, who also played with Mars Volta and is with Queens of the Stone Age. Gavin from Porcupine Tree. He's really, really cool.
one of the best shows ever.
Yeah, I've never seen him live, but
I'm very sorry.
Yeah,
I'm very sorry. When you get that opportunity, take it. Yeah. One
and
day.
then one more guy I would have to say is Bard Kolstad. I believe I'm saying that right, from a band called Leprous.
I love Leprous.
Mhm.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I love Leprous.
So amazing. The drumming's so amazing. They've got all those tempo changes, and he's got so much feel behind it. So I think from the emotion aspect and the, ebbing and flowing aspect, I think he's my number one right now.
So I'm actually in another band as well, like a noise rock group. So I take a lot of influence from those type of bands. I know we all like grunge and Alice in Chains and shit like that too, though. So we still share a lot in common music taste wise. But I like Sonic Youth a lot. They're one of my favorite bands. Nirvana really got me started wanting to be in bands and stuff. Flipper, they're cool too. Swans, Mr. Bungle. But yeah, those are some of my influences and what keeps me playing.
For vocal influences.
Yeah, I was kind of going to say something similar to Sterling, because I took a lot of influence from a lot of 90s grunge. I don't specifically try to, take after one person. There's so many different things that I like. But I'd say from a really early age, I was really into the singer of the Animals, Eric Burdon.
Oh, okay.
I liked him a lot. And then he played with War for a while too. And then I like, sorry for me to think 'cause there's so many singers I like. But yeah, I'm a fan of, Peter Steele, Glenn Danzig. I like Jamiroquai a lot too, JK, even though we don't sound like them at all. I just take influences kind of from all over the place.
I gotta tell you, I can see why this album is so damn good, because you all have really good inspirations. From Typo to Alice in Chains to Leprous to Animals as Leaders. You guys have some really kick-ass
Pretty
influences.
wide array. Yeah.
One question I'm very curious about is how do you know when you are finished with a song? Because Ad Infinitum, I believe, is like 1:35 or something like that. But then you have other songs that kind of go along like the 5-minute mark. So how do you know when to really put down the paintbrush?
So you don't. That song specifically, though, when we wrote it, Ad Infinitum was part of Faint-Hearted Soul, because it, like, you hear how it blends together.
Yeah,
and kind of just
it's like an
smoothly
intro
goes in.
track.
So we literally, that was one song, we just chopped it because we felt like the instrumental part of Ad Infinitum worked as a standalone track. But I think we feel that a song is finished when it has enough of a build-up and a conclusion at some point in the song, kind of energy-wise. Once it feels like there is a solid climax where it's satisfying to play all the way through, whereas if we're playing it and sometimes we'll naturally we'll write a set amount of time to play a certain part for, and we'll just subconsciously play it for longer, and then that tells us that part should be longer, or we'll just kind of naturally go into something else, and then if we're doing it instinctually, then we know that we should probably do it intentionally also.
Yeah, you wanted to?
No, I was just agreeing with him. We play a part for longer, just playing it, feeling it out.
Yeah. When it comes to writing the music together, I have two more questions. But when people tell me all the time, we collectively came together and the making of this album was such a mutual, I don't really buy it. If you're in a band with 3 to 4 other people, you're writing a dozen or so songs, there's going to be disagreement, and you're all very talented and have your own experiences, so, it's all coming together into one project. Is it better, though, if you're all kind of in your own unique worlds when writing the music together, and that adds the contrast, you would say?
I would say no. It just depends, If you spend too much time doing stuff alone, it kind of takes you away from how it might sound with the band, and then you start to, not be comfortable with bringing it to the band, and then everyone's going to change it. If you work on something for too long, I feel like you mentally expect it to be a certain way, and then it's sort of not really everyone's input anymore at that point.
Yeah.
But there's nothing, sometimes, if you come up with an idea and everyone's in agreement, it just works.
Yeah. Rarely happens.
I prefer just playing together, in my opinion.
Yeah. Isolation is such a great fuel for creativity, though, as well.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
It is.
So it's sort of like a double-edged sword, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
There's definitely, it's not always, there's disagreements all the time. It's just normal.
Yeah, of course. And the final question I wanted to ask you is when it comes to playing live, is there a similar energy that's channeled into your live presence as you do when you're songwriting, or are they two completely separate arts altogether?
Yes and no. I think we try to write stuff with live shows in mind. At least when I'm writing riffs or solos, I'm thinking about how it's going to feel to do it live. They are different things because sometimes we'll write stuff and it just doesn't really translate to live and we think it will. But I think we want it to be kind of directly translated, and it just doesn't always happen, but we try to do that with everything.
Yeah. Is there anything remotely creative about playing live, though? Because you are just taking the songs you recorded and are replicating them in a live setting. So is there anything remotely creative about playing live?
I think it's a lot about showmanship. First of all, interacting with the crowd. I think there's a big part of it with interacting with people. There's the way the crowd looks at you, the way you look at them. If they're not feeling it, you have to, I don't know, channels something inside of you to feel more connected. I think connection has a lot to do with creativity. Sometimes we'll mess up, and then we have to, creatively figure out how to get back in time with each other. Or there's some songs, specifically Above All, the very ending of it, we do an extra little section at the end live, which is fun, just for the energy of it. It is weird, it's like you go to the movie theater and you watch a movie that's already pre-made. Oh, they already wrote this song, we're just gonna go see them play it.
Yeah.
But
that's the experience.
It is the experience.
So you got to make it different. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's funny. You brought up a good point. Is crowd interaction and stage presence, is that actually something you can practice, or is that something that you just have to naturally get better at over time?
I think you can practice it by you can practice it by just doing it a bunch, really.
Yeah,
Just
sure.
by playing a lot of shows.
You can't practice it alone.
Yeah, not on your own. Unless you're in your, you can look in a mirror and do some stuff.
I know it's so cliche, and we've seen that in every rock star movie. But part of me wonders if you actually have to do that.
No, I don't.
I won't mention who, but I did interview a band one time where he actually does have puppets in front of his rehearsal space to be
Hey, that's
you're gonna
cool.
sing along with this.
Yeah,
This song's
whatever.
dedicated to you."
Whatever he's got to do,
All right. That's cool.
Yeah. So before we go, I want to thank you both so much for your time today. Thank you so much for coming to our city, and thank you for your awesome music. Is there just anything else with Is This Rage you would like to promote for Bastardane? What else you could be expecting, or what else you'd like to plug?
Well, we have to promote 2 singles of ours that just came out today.
Oh, well,
Today,
okay.
midnight, this morning, last night, whatever. Yeah, 2 new singles. They will be on our next album, and people should listen to them because I think they're cool.
And are they a good representation of what the follow-up to Is This Rage is going to sound like?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes. You can never represent the full album because the full album's always going to have. I think our album is very diverse, so it was hard for us to pick which singles to put out. But I think they're good.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Specifically like Kingston.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you all so much. Everybody,
Yeah,
we are
thank
here.
you.
Anytime. Everybody, we are here with Bastardane. This is Alex from Heavy New York, and we will see you next time.
Hell yeah.